Hey guys, it's Christina here. Just doing the hair tussle because I could see a bit that was annoying me. Let me say hi to you. Hi. I've just gotten off of a couple of I think probably in the last 3 days I've done maybe 10 new client intakes of, talking to people who are considering working with me, whether I'm the right fit for them. So it's been a really interesting couple of days actually answering lots and lots of questions about a whole bunch of different things and seeing some of the misconceptions that are out there and seeing some of the stuff that people have been told about their health. Say hi when you're on, let me know you're here. I'd love to say hi to you. So, hey. So some of the stuff that's really happened is just thinking about health and it not being just one thing. So just then I caught a snippet of somebody else doing a video saying, this thing that you're doing is causing your condition. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting because that's not really the truth. Like, it's never just one thing. Let me just say, it's rarely just one thing. It's actually more likely a combination of things that have taken place in order to set the scene for you to develop, a thyroid condition, for you to develop an autoimmune condition, for you to develop like hormonal displacement and period problems. Like, it's not generally just one thing that's caused it. It's generally a combination of a couple of things. And that might be like your gut's out of balance. It might be that you're consuming foods that are not compatible for your body and your system for where it is right now. It could be that you've also got some emotional stuff that's going on where your emotions and your emotional energy has got some wounds that actually need healing. It's generally like a combination of all these things. And, it would be so easy if it was just like, stop eating this one thing and you'll never be sick again. The answer is generally not that. The answer is you need to learn to listen to what your body is saying to you. And you need to learn to interpret that information again for your body. And often what has happened along the way is we've gone through this journey of detachment where we've learned to suppress and detach from what our body and our emotions and our mind are actually telling us about who we are, what we should eat, when we should eat, how we should eat, the same as how we think. Like, we've got all of these crappy messages that have come to us from all sorts of different places. So some, from childhood, and then some from as you've grown up. Like, we've got these messages that come in and they're creating toxic thoughts. We've also got, a world what's far more toxic than it's ever been before. Like, even right now, we live near a highway. So going outside, we're going to get some of the fumes from those cars. That didn't exist 200 years ago. It exists now. That's just the way things are. Like, I'm not going to be able to make everybody stop driving and not be able to have cars anymore. Like, that's not something I'm going to be able to achieve in my lifetime by myself. Maybe I could if, let's never say never. But hey, the likelihood is I'm not going to convince everybody to stop driving cars so that we don't have car fumes anymore. That's not like the likelihood. But what I can do is go, I recognize that I live in a world that's got more toxins in it than it did in, hundreds of generations before me. So I need to therefore also make sure that I'm looking after my body in order to actually eliminate those toxins and support my health and well-being. By, when it comes to the toxins of the cars driving by, it's making sure that I'm spending time around trees or around the ocean so that I can be breathing in the benefits that those two different environments actually have for my lungs. Making sure that I'm doing detoxing baths so that I'm looking after my toxins from the skin point of view and supporting the toxin removal. Making sure that I'm eating foods that are compatible for my body, and not just compatible from an immune point of view, but from a digestive point of view, so that I'm making sure that the foods that are coming in are ones that I'm breaking down, I'm able to absorb, I'm able to utilize, versus I'm just sticking anything that comes my way in my mouth and hoping that it goes down well, and then feeling lousy and gas and bloating and all of those types of things. Making sure that I'm looking after the messages that come into my head. So, monitoring and being a conscious consumer when it comes to, even Facebook. but also things like the news and movies that I'm watching and different types of voices that I allow to speak into my life. That includes like friends and family, making sure I know when to like racquetball some bad crap back or let it like just slide off of me so it's not coming in. But it's about being conscious to all of those things and recognizing that it's never just one thing that makes us sick. It's a combination of the things that make us sick. And therefore the solution is not never do this one thing again. It's there's lots of little things that need to change in order to help you do, life even better. And it was interesting, having these conversations with these new clients that are asking some questions about their health and talking to them about how their body works and how it's both simple and complicated. Like the biochemical processes of our body can be quite complex. And we can go, oh my gosh, that's so, I don't even know how to think about it. But at the same time, our body is really simple. Like it gives us the information and the messages that it needs. But again, along the way, we've been taught that we need to suppress that. What you're feeling is not what you're feeling. That, if you've got a headache, take a tablet that's going to make the headache go away, instead of actually questioning, why do I have the headache in the first place? Do I need to drink more water? Is that what my body is trying to ask me to do by giving me the headache? Is it asking me to drink more water? Is it asking me to have more detox baths? Is it asking me to spend some time in the sun? Like, what are the messages that my body are asking of me to do in order for it to thrive? And we've moved away from this place of like listening to what our body needs, which we get when we're born. When you're a baby, you're hungry, you cry. You're uncomfortable, you cry. If you're frustrated, you cry. If you're sleepy, you cry. Like you're actually you're communicating that message and you're just experiencing it. I feel uncomfortable, I'm going to cry, and that cry is the communication to your magical big people that I need something. As we move along our journey, what happens is that our magical big people sometimes actually tell us, this is what you eat, this is when you eat, this is how much you eat, and if you don't eat it, there's starving children in Africa that are going without food. So they kind of guilt you and shame you into eating the food. And then what happens is we start to suppress our natural desires, our natural desire of like when we're full, our natural desire of feeling hungry, our natural desire for want comfort and for love and all of those types of things. Because we have all this conditioning that's going on, like, getting a pacifier to help you stop crying, giving you food to make you shut up so that you stop crying. All of that works into the conditioning that leads into this place of dis-ease in our body. And this for me is like, totally where I sit back and I go, oh my God, our bodies are such amazing things. They're absolutely powerhouses of amazement. When, what our body is actually trying to do when we're feeling sick or when we've got disease taking place, is it's got to the point where the only way it can communicate with you now is to scream at you. But that doesn't mean you need to think badly of yourself or badly of your body. It means you go, oh, okay, I'm listening. I'll find myself an interpreter. Hello, I'm an interpreter. I'll find myself an interpreter to help me interpret these messages so that I can actually talk to my body again and get associated with it again instead of being so disassociated with it. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to learn to listen to what my body has to say, and I'm going to respond accordingly. And I'm going to provide it with the things that it actually needs in order for it to thrive and grow. And while I'm doing that, it's never just one thing. It's never just the food. It's also the emotional, the mindset, the spiritual. All of that gets healed along with the physical. And this is why I talk about like our health is our superpower, because the screaming of the body is not just the physical stuff. It's screaming at you, please, let's get in alignment. Let's get back to how amazing you are. Let's get back and let's get to the core of who you are and loving who you are and looking after who you are and being available for good things, being available for uplifting, beautiful things to happen on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, but also on a physical level, by making ourselves available for a standard of living when it comes to, this is the way that I look after my body. this is the way that I take care of my mind. This is the way that I take care of my spirit. And these are the people that I allow to speak into my life. I become a conscious consumer about, you know, TV, all of that type of stuff. Becoming a conscious consumer in your life from all of those areas. And so again, it's been really interesting having these conversations, because sometimes for me, I forget like what other people don't know. Like I forget that, yes, I've got this knowledge in the back of my head, and it's really easy for me to grab and obtain and start talking about it and, you know, tell people what to do and direct them and guide them and all the things. But sometimes I forget that, you know, they've got a very different story and they don't yet know some of the things that they might need to know in order for them to reconnect with their body. And some of that is that story of my body is broken, that there's something wrong with me, that, you know, my body is broken, and essentially that broken, like your body is not broken. Your body is not broken. Your body is doing the best it can with absolutely everything that it's got. Like your body stretches itself to the limits and the maximum of its capacity to provide you with the things that you need. But it can only do that if you give it the resources that it needs. And it's not broken. It just needs more resources. It's kind of like a building of a house. You know, if your builder runs out of resources, he can't keep building the house. He's got to wait for the resources or the truck with the bricks to turn up. And so your body does that too. It's got to wait for the truck with the bricks to turn up and give it more resources. And so when we're listening to our body in spaces of disease, it's just like, oh, dude, okay, I get it. You need more resources. Okay, what resources do you need? Tell me. What are the resources? And I'll go get them. And that's what we need to do with our body, is provide it those resources. But also from that spiritual, emotional level as well. What are the resources that I need to connect back in with myself? What are the resources that I need to connect into that little person that's still living inside, that's still driving my bus? What do I need? What resources do I need to, you know, make her feel loved? Let her know that I care for her. Let her know that she's valuable, she's worthy, she's amazing, she's beautifully and wonderfully made, and that she is enough just because she breathes air. She doesn't need to do anything to earn the love of the divine. She's already got it. She just needs to accept it so that she can feel it. And what do I need to do to tap into her and help her or him? Like, what do I need to do? What resources do I need to access? What things do I need to provide? What structures, what systems, what comfort? What thinking do I need to provide in order for her to feel safe or him to feel safe? What foods do I need to eat so that she has neurochemicals that are going to make beautiful feelings for her, like serotonin and dopamine and all of that? What do I need to do to do that? And that's generally, you know, when we start to get back to what health is about, it's like listening to the interpretation, or listening to our body and interpreting it accordingly, so that we can create what it is that our body needs. We can give it what it needs in order to nourish it and look after it. And it's never just one thing. It's never just you ate this one thing and therefore you're going to be sick. It's never just this one thing. It's a combination of things. It always is. Like even when I'm doing my hair analysis for people, like it's not that they get one thing on their food list. It's that they've generally got 10 things on their food list that they're eating, and they're eating them on a regular basis. And that's causing or driving the inflammation in their body, or driving their immune system to function in a way that it shouldn't be. So it's never just one thing. It's never just, this is the reason that you're sick and that you're fighting an immune disease. It could be your dentistry. It could be the products that you're using. And it's a combination of all of them. It's not just the one thing. So it's interesting, again, having these conversations with new people. And if you haven't booked in for a one-on-one, just like free session with me and you want to, you're welcome to do that. It's on my page, like familyhealthnaturally.com.au/coaching. It's there. I'll put the link in later if anybody wants it. But it's never just one thing. It's a combination of all the things. And, you know, we can't do all the things in one go. We do them slowly and incrementally. And, you know, every day getting closer to, you know, creating better and better lives for ourselves, more and more change for ourselves. Yeah, it's never just the one thing. It's all of the things. It's more than one thing. And sometimes you need an interpreter to help you figure out what those things are. And that's my role as an interpreter, to help you hear what your body needs and go, okay, here's what it is, here's what it's saying, here's what it's doing, and let's figure this stuff out. This and more is what we're going to be talking about in Divinely Nourished. We're going to be talking about like the mindset stuff. We're going to talk about what brought you to the place that you're currently at. Like we're going to talk about tribal cycles. We're going to talk about toxic thinking. And if you're thinking that Divinely Nourished is something that you're interested in, ask me some questions about it. I'm totally happy to answer. But also come join me for the live events. So I've put in 3 live events for Divinely Nourished. And we're going to be talking about toxicity of the mind, toxicity of the spirit, and toxicity of the body. And how those 3 work together in order to create some of the situations we see playing out in our health, especially when it comes to self-sabotage, where we recognize that we're sabotaging our own efforts. How those 3 things play out in our bodies, minds, and spirits. So come and join me for those. Say you're going, click on the calendar, book it into your phone so you know when it's happening and you don't miss out. Otherwise, just come join me. You're very, very welcome to. All right, bye for now. Remember, it's not just one thing, it's many things, and it takes a while to get there. Bye for now. Catch you later.